Ahoy, mateys.
Hey, look here. I got a guest with me tonight. We're going to talk about the Seafood Festival. It is, what year? It's April 25th. I have to look real quick. April 25th. We're on our 127th episode. And as always.
It's March, Captain.
It is March.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's right. It is. I'm a month ahead already. Look at that. See, that's why I have guests to keep up with me.
Better to be ahead than behind.
Now you know why the rum's always going. And I'm not even drinking tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I still got some throat problems. So, how do you find our show? That's the most important thing to start our show. Go to YouTube, click on that QR code, and follow along with our show. Be one of our crew. Like us. I love it when people like us. Follow us, subscribe to us. And then you'll get the little bell ringing and letting you know that we're on air every night, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you can go to any of our platforms, and I'll show you those platforms by the end of the show tonight. But there's the QR code. Click on it. Use that cell phone. Do what you need to, and be a part of the Captain's Quarters podcast crew. Onward, Davey. 8 Bells is how we always start things. And 8 Bells is sponsored by our good friends, the Riker family of reenactors. They do Spanish here in St. Augustine. They do British in St. Augustine, and they're part of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. So they do great pirates. In fact, the Rikers are my main go-to couple who oversee the Mayhem's Nautical Museum at all of our events, and will be out at the Seafood Festival this 2 weekends coming up and watching over the museum. And they bring some of their own stuff along too. So it's pretty interesting to see, touch, and old artifacts from the 16, 17, and 1800s. And boy, this cough is going to get me tonight. As always, 8 Bells. How many do we have tonight, Davey?
We have 6, and there was also one from Fiddler's Green.
Good. Let's do everyone but the Fiddler's Green last then.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Emmett Walsh. Oh, my goodness. Didn't know he passed on. American character actor who appeared in over 200 films and television series, including small but important supporting roles as Earl Frank in Straight Time, the Madman in The Jerk, Captain Bryant in Blade Runner, Harv in Critters, and Walt Scheel in Christmas with the Cranks, just to name a few. He starred as the private detective Lauren Visser in Blood Simple in 1984, the Coen brothers' first film, for which he won the Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead Actor. He was 88 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Vernon Stephen Vinge was an American science fiction author and professor. He was the first wide-scale popularizer of the technological singularity concept, and among the first authors to present fictional cyberspace. He won the Hugo Award for his novels A Fire Upon the Deep, A Deepness in the Sky, and Rainbow's End, and novellas Fast Times at Fairmount High and The Cookie Monster. He was 79 years old. Martin Greenfield was an American master tailor based in Brooklyn, New York, specializing in men's suits. He was described as the best man's tailor in the United States. His list of clients included 6 presidents, as well as other notable politicians and celebrities. His company, Martin Greenfield Clothiers, also has a white label business, fashioning men's suits for clothing lines DKNY and Rag & Bone, and the television show Boardwalk Empire. He was 95 years old. Alfred Mason Gray Jr., United States Marine Corps 4-star general who served as the 29th Commandant of the Marine Corps from July 87 until his retirement in June of 91 after 41 years of service. We thank him for his service. He was 95 years old. Sarah Ann Shaw was an American journalist and television reporter with WBZ-TV from 1969 to 2000. She was best known as the first female African-American reporter to be televised in Boston. Shaw was also known for her presence in civil rights movements and as a volunteer in education programs. Her recognition was widespread, including awards from the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She was 90 years old. Michael Philip Bigham, better known as Brawley Legs, was an American professional fighting game player, primarily known for competing in Street Fighter. Bigham's accolades as a competitive player include being ranked #1 Chun-Li player online in Ultra Street Fighter 4 from 13 to 17. A disabled gamer, Biggin was born with boy, Davey, you got me this time, arthrogryposis, which has hindered his muscle and joint growth and rendered him immobile. Playing video games at a young age, he developed a technique for gripping and pressing buttons on the video game controllers with his face. He was 35 years old. And out of the international pirate community, Captain Scally, 1958 to 2004, part of the NOLA, New Orleans pirate groups over there, passed away just this past week. In memory of all of them, ladies and gentlemen, we raise our glass and our wishes to all their fans and their family. Davey. Cheers. Okay, we always like to take it up a notch instead of having it all about, people passing on.
Yeah.
It's time for Mini Mayhem with the joke of the week, sponsored by Salt City Comics, our good friend who's done our new logo and our new cartoon characters out of Utah. Davey, where's Mini Mayhem at?
Ahoy, mates! Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week, sponsored by Salt City Comics. What is a pirate's favorite part of town? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
Hey, well, we'll be back for the reveal at the end of the show on that one. I'm curious now, what's the favorite part of town for pirates? I'd think the bar, but you never know.
Well, is there a prize for getting it?
There's no prize.
Okay.
You just get to feel good that you understood what Mayhem was actually saying. There you go.
Yeah.
Quote of the week, ladies and gentlemen, by our good friends at Spyglass Travel. If you want a good walking tour of St. Augustine, call my friends up at Spyglass Travel, Kevin and Angie. They'll walk your hindquarters off, teaching you the history of St. Augustine on a great walking tour. And Spyglass Travel is the place to go. They've got several other tours that are very interesting. And if you need a really good educational tour, they have it. Go ahead, Davey. If you treat people right, they will treat you right 90% of the time. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. That makes sense. I like that one.
That's good.
That's a good one. I like that.
We keep that one.
Yeah, that's a good one, Davey. Good job. And question of the week. Ancient city sirens, who you'll see at the St. Augustine Seafood Festival in 2 weeks. But for now, the question of the week, since Easter is coming up, how do you celebrate? Many of us here in the oldest city start off with the Easter parade. And then from there, who knows? Dinner with family, restaurants, touring the great weather here. But let's hear it along the line. And let's see, while I'm thinking about it, there's our gallery right there. That's all people that are.
Is that a gallery of rogues?
That's a gallery of rogues.
Good.
It looks to be that there is a Teresa Mercurio
Oh,
there.
that's not a rogue. That's a wench.
That's a wench. All right. Well, hello there, Teresa Wench. Blimey. And of course, right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a great tour of the city, but from the Matanzas Bay, you need to call our friends at Florida Water Tours, and they sponsor This Week in Nautical History. Davey, take that one away.
Welcome to This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by our friends at Florida Water Tours. Experience the Intercoastal Waterway at its finest, featuring picture-perfect attractions.
We begin this week in nautical history in the year 1513. Spaniard Juan Ponce de Leon and his expedition first sight Florida. 1598, Cornelius de Outman's fleet departs Amsterdam for East Indies on his second voyage in search of the then exotic spices cloves, nutmeg, mace, cinnamon, and pepper. 1609, Henry Hudson embarks on an attempt to find Northwest Passage to Asia for Dutch East Indian Company. Explores North America instead. 1813, First U.S. flag flown in battle on the Pacific by the frigate Essex. 1941, sea battle at Cape Matapan. British fleet under Cunningham defeats Italy. 1942, British naval forces raid Nazi-occupied French port of Saint-Nazaire. And finally, in 1958, U.S. Navy forms Atomic Submarine Division. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
All right, with that last one, we have several friends that are in the crew of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers who are submariners.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, they can't make it up above on the water. They have to be underwater.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, very good. So crew adventures. We talked about my Chicago trip last week. That's why I've still got this. The cold and the wind got me, but I had a great time. And
Cold and rum?
I did. It probably was too much rum.
A little bit of rum. That Chicago's got good rum.
You know, the nice thing about being up there was with all these lawyers, they wouldn't let me buy my own drinks. So when you're not buying your own drinks, it's hard to keep track.
I love it. You got the lawyers to pay?
I got lawyers to pay.
Write a book.
Hey. So we're going to talk about the Seafood Festival in just a few minutes. But Davey, pop up the Seawolf murder mystery. April 12th and 13th, the Seawolf Privateers down in Flagler will be doing their 4th murder mystery. All the funds raised from this goes to help all the foster children programs that they work with. On Saturday night, the dinner is completely donated by the Outback, and on Friday night, the Outback, and on Saturday night, Carrabba's. I will be making an appearance down at the Friday night event to support our good friends, because the Seawolf Privateers come out and support what we do also. So click on that. There's a barcode or a QR code at the bottom, and get your tickets. I believe there's still a few tickets left for each of the 2 nights, and it's looking to be a good time. Davey and I have actually been in at least 1 or 2 of their plays before, and we've had a good time working with them. This time, though, around, it is an all-female cast, which means that Davey and I didn't make the cut. So there is 1 male in it, and that is Captain Scabbard, and from what I understand, he'll be in chains most of the show. So,
How about the body, male or female? The dead one.
The dead one?
Not sure.
Not sure yet.
That might be part of the
It
mystery.
could be. They're calling the cruise ship is called the PMS.
Okay, I think we got our answer.
Yeah, I think so. And on that same weekend, on Saturday, I will be then going down to Ormond Beach to participate in the Pirates Mini Masters golf tourney. And that's being put on by the crew of the Queen Anne's Revenge. And the money they raise for that one is going to Surfers for Autism, a big children's beach thing that they do that gets put on every year down in that way. And I'll be going down and supporting them. There are 2 reasons I'm going down to support them and the one on Friday night. One, because I believe that both crews are great crews and have great causes. And 2, to prove that we need to support each other as best we can. And as I said last week, we may not be able to always support in presence, but we can support we use our podcast to advertise everybody, and we might even make donations. And speaking of donations, I'm going to throw a quickie in here that Davey wasn't ready for. It's okay. One of our good friends on Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember which, a couple that's in our crew, Ed and Janice, I got to meet with their daughter up in Chicago. She works at a bar called the Rebel and Rye. And I met with her and hung out with her on Friday. And then I came back on Sunday. On Monday morning, her apartment complex caught fire and burnt to the ground. She lost everything. So the crew made a donation to her GoFundMe page. And when I made the donation, it was going quite strong for her. So we wish them well. And I say this only just to show you that the Swashbucklers will help their own as well as they help everybody else. So always keep that in mind. Even $1 or $2 on a GoFundMe page can go a long way when everybody is doing the same. And it's all about working the charities, which is what we're next going to talk about. My good friend here Dominic Mercurio the third.
The third.
The
that's right.
third.
There's 4 of us running around.
And we've been friends now for 12 or 15 years.
How long you been in Florida?
Since 2007, so pretty much.
So pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Got me involved in the Seafood Festival at least 12 years ago, and I wasn't doing much, but otherwise coming over and doing a couple magic shows.
That's right, yeah.
And then I started pulling in the pirates, the swashbucklers. And so the swashbucklers have been providing pirate and or Spanish landing entertainment
For quite a long
for
time.
quite a long time now.
In fact, Spanish Landing has sailed off into the sunset, and we have Pirate Landing. So you guys have came and conquered.
Good.
Yeah.
We've removed the Spanish and put pirates back in place.
As it was to be.
As it should be.
Yeah.
So the Seafood Festival, it's going into its 41st year now.
Yes, sir. Fun since 1981.
And that's a good
Good
that's a
time.
good catchphrase. And it is the longest running festival in St. Augustine now, correct?
It is, yes, positively, and probably one of the longest running ones in all of Northeast Florida.
Wow. And
it's funny because when I got involved 30 years ago, I came along in February. The event was March or April, and so I didn't know anything about it. And it turned out that it was overly ambitiously named, because when I went to the first seafood festival, they had one meal, and that was fish on the plate with the sides. You paid $5 for it, take it or leave it. And my first comment to the group was, "How is that a seafood festival?
yeah,
Come to the rest of the seafood.
it's more like a fish fry.
It should have just been called a fish fry.
Should have
yeah.
been just a fish
It's
fry.
good fish.
So you bring in arts and crafts people from all over.
Mhm.
You probably have some artists that come here on a regular basis
yeah.
every year.
Yeah, so a lot of those people, if they're professionals, they have a routine. So they know in March they do this show and that show. And so we have some of our exhibitors have been with us in excess of 20 years. One of them is approaching nearly 30.
Wow.
When she hit her 20-year mark, we gave her a plaque and some ribbons and some hugs. And her name is Kay Williams. If she's out there, she should be watching. And so, yeah, we're arts and crafters. And something that we started letting in a few years ago was what we call artisan food makers. So we have like hot sauces, honey. There's going to be 2 bakers on site, one specializing in sweets, one savory. And then we have on the other side of them is local businesses that want to talk about what they do, whether it's windows, real estate, nothing.
Right, right.
So there's a lot on this field. And that's why we have to take days and days setting up.
And field meaning Francis
Francis
Field,
Field.
which is right there in the shadow of the parking garage.
Yes.
Not St. Francis Field, as everybody seems to want to
There's
call
no
it.
St. Francis.
There's no St. Francis Field. It's Francis Field.
And the address is 25 West Castillo Drive, 32084.
So the entrance will be the entrance to the event is on the end of the field by the garage.
Well, we actually have an east and a west. So right
Okay.
in front of the garage is our primary entrance. And on the opposite side of the field toward US 1 is the other. Obviously, more people come from the garage side. We're pretty good at manning those gates. So typically the line is not too long to get in.
And what's the cost for tickets?
So $10 for adults. We consider an adult anybody that's got 13 or more years, unlike Disney where an adult ticket is for anybody over 2 years old.
Yeah.
So that means anybody 12 or under is entered free. And active duty military who can show their military ID.
And all the money that you raise,
Yes.
and this is going to lead into another question. All the money you raise, you're part of the Lions Club,
Yes, sir.
and the Lions Club is very, very community activated
Absolutely.
or active,
That's right.
and not just one charity, but several charities.
Oh, yes. So we support on it. And each year we probably support 15 to 30 different charities each year, depending on how successful the festival is each year.
And so sometimes this is a question that can jinx you.
Yeah.
But in the past years, What's your success rate been like as far as dollars are concerned? You feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talking about money?
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah. Sorry, can I say that word?
It doesn't matter now.
You can bleep it now.
Right.
You didn't give me any ground rules when I got
No,
here.
there are none. We're pirates.
No, you just learned, didn't you?
That's
Always
it.
give this guy ground
Yeah,
rules.
we're pirates. Doesn't matter.
So yes, the event in the time that I've been involved with it, so since '95, so almost 30 years, we have raised. I don't mean gross, I mean net, over $2 million for charity. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And we're a very generous organization, and we support so many of the smaller 501c nonprofits, food banks, college scholarships. We provide, like we send the kids to camp. I mean, the list is so extensive, it's crazy. And what happens is each year after the festival's over, we see what our number is. And then we ask those in need, and we also support individuals. Doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to come necessarily through another organization. But we have a sort of a focus, because you can't help everybody. That's why there's so many great organizations.
Right.
We each kind of find our niche. So our niche is working with the blind, the hearing impaired, and children. So that's kind of our mission. And then they fill out these grant forms, and then our board of director gives grants out. So we do the grant process from after the festival to the next festival. So we're spending money we already have, which is nice, because sometimes if you're a nonprofit and you're planning a big fundraiser, you're thinking about how you're going to use that money, but you haven't actually gotten there yet.
Right.
So yeah, over $2 million in profits. Our best year ever. In my club, we call it a buck a brag. So I got to give him a buck to make a brag. So remind me to give that to you. So buck a brag is that our best year was 2016. Who knows why? And we netted in profits that went to charity, $226,000, nearly $250,000.
Wow.
At one festival, yeah.
At one festival.
And I think most people would also find it interesting to know that the Lions Club gets not a dollar, not a single penny, not one red cent from the festival. Lions is 100% self-funding from our own internal dues. And I also happen to be the treasurer. So if somebody's really interested, send me an email at payments@lionsfestival.com, and I'll tell you where the money goes.
Well, because it goes to charity, and like the Swashbucklers do charity, there's a check going
There
right
you go.
there. I can't see the number on that, but it looks like 6 digits.
It's
To Inc.
yeah. So
Inc.
the group is INK, which is Investing in
And
Kids.
we support them too.
What a great organization!
Great organization, because they do a lot for the teachers.
Yeah, and I think that grant is for $10,000 and some odd dollars.
I think we've got
It's a cute little fake check.
last year we gave them, for the whole year 2023, we gave them $2,500.
Awesome. And they do a great job getting what's called match money.
Yep.
And so your dollars usually multiplied 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. Great organization. And that gentleman right there who's handing that check out, his name is Lion Larry Dillahay. He is also a mentor for the Investing in Kids program, and he stays with a kid from 8th grade to high school graduation.
Wow.
And he currently is mentoring, I believe, 2 in that program.
That one's the Alpha Omega.
Is that the Alpha Omega check?
Yeah.
They're a good organization too.
Yeah.
Very good
We're
organization.
familiar with them. They
Yeah.
they help young mothers.
And there he is again, right?
Yeah, that's Larry. I don't know what year these pictures were taken, but one year he was treasurer, so that might be when he was running around doing the presentations.
So a lot of people think that the Lions Club is just glasses, and that's
Right.
not true.
That's what we're known for, is the glasses.
You're known for the glasses.
Oh man, look at those pictures. There's Lion John and Lion Wayne.
And that one is Take Stock in Children.
Yeah.
Look at that, $4,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the biggest grant we ever gave was $50,000, and that was something to do with one of the hurricanes, and it was recovery money.
Yeah. So you were telling me this, and I didn't know this, and now we're going to bring it up when it comes to the cost of the event, and the Lions Club's not getting anything.
Right.
The food vendors all the seafood vendors, or all the food
All
vendors,
food vendors, popcorn, pretzel, seafood,
they all get their space for free.
they get their space for free. Our concept is we're partners in an event. So a lot of events just sell real estate. They sell a spot to a vendor. They've got their money before the event opens. So where's the skin in the game, the incentive? So our concept is they get the space for free. They then give us a commission of all their sales. So it behooves us to build a successful event because we give our partner success in return that increases the amount that we get back.
So let me ask you this, because I've done that in various degrees with some of the festivals that I've done.
Yes, sir.
Because I believe that if you treat your vendors good,
That's right.
they will come back and they will talk about the event, and the
That's
vendors are what make your event
Absolutely.
great. How do you do it based on trust? Or do you have something that they have to,
Well,
because you can do it based on trust.
yes. So it
But-
is now based on trust. But we had a system in place for many years where I don't know if you remember this. In the days you could not spend any cash or credit cards.
Right.
You had to buy festival
Tokens, that's right.
So therefore, all weekend they would sell their wares, get tokens, and then bring them to us, cash them in, and we'd pay them their cut and keep our cut. So I kept it 99.9%, honest. So then what happens is you begin to build relationships, and then you also you get a track record. And if you have good vendors, they come back year after year. So now you know he's going to do this number, he's going to do this number. So now, because it was so labor intensive, the counting of the tokens,
Right.
and I mean way intensive.
I'm sure.
We now are on the honor system, and you and I both know you got gut instincts. You know who you trust and who you don't
Right.
trust. So it's worked out well for us.
I find that the honor system does one other thing too, and that is that if you're doing that, which I've done, the vendors will come up to me and go, well, here's your cut. I don't even have to go look for it. They bring it to you. And then when you count it, it's a pretty hefty cut. And you know that they might have been a little more generous when they get it.
Absolutely. We have a fabulous vendor. They'll be there this year. They serve the hard liquor. And
Good.
It's called Coco Bongos. And so we have a contract they signed to, pay their cut. And at the end, he came over and he said, "You're great people for a great cause." I threw a 10% bonus in there. So, and he's just so excited this year. He's bringing he's going to double Coco Bongo us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for those of you who enjoy
Actually,
in moderation.
I remember having good conversations with them, and because I was a pirate,
Yeah.
they were really generous with the drinks for me.
They're very nice people.
Hey, Davey, put that one back up there real quick. I didn't want to interrupt you. Will the historian
Okay.
is my son. He's a history teacher up in northern Alabama. And his father-in-law is an active Lions Club member up there in North Alabama. So he says he's learned a lot about the organization just from conversations with him.
Yeah, I think what you'll find if you actually know a lion or have a lion in your family, the Lions are very proud of what they do. We're somewhat unique, and there's lots of great organizations, so don't take what I'm about to say wrong. But the Lions are considered we are the world's largest. We're in over 200 countries and territories around the world, including communist China. They're also considered the most successful nonprofit in the world because we run on such a shoestring. All of our local organizations have to be self-funded. No money can come from the public, period, in any way, shape, or form. And at our headquarters, which is international, they're in a building that's probably needed to be remodeled 27 times since they've been in there because they're so fiscally conservative. And so that's why, like on Charity Navigator, we have such high ratings. And I'm glad to see that. Would you say it was your son?
That's my son.
I'm glad to see that he has somebody in his life that can talk to him about lionism, as we call it. And misconception sometimes we are not a fraternal or sorority.
Yes, not sobriety.
They are very sober. Lions are a very, very sober group. But we are actually considered a civic and service organization. It's because we have the logo of the lion. people assume that it's a fraternity. It is actually, I have to say, probably one of the most boring clubs you can belong to, because it is about serving. That is actually our motto. We serve. It's about serving and working in the community, and there's not a huge social component to it.
So another good friend of mine and yours is Jim Stafford,
Oh yeah,
Eclipse Studios. He's a member of the Lions.
Bass man.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Lion Jim is. In fact, Lion Jim is our sound producer for the whole weekend at the festival.
Yeah,
And he's out there, and he runs a tight ship.
he does.
Yeah, in fact, I don't know what year it was. There was some snafu on the stage, and things were getting a little behind. And I went up and, was kind of like, how's it going? And he said to me, my stage does not get behind. I said, okay, what do we need to do? Who do we need to, yeah, he's a great guy, and he has a lovely lady in his life.
Yep.
And he's a great father and a great grandpa.
I've been friends with Jim probably as long as I've been friends with you.
He's a good guy. I like him.
I having become this pirate captain, I've really fallen into good relationships with some really good people here in St. Augustine. The Lions Club, the Celtic Festival,
Right.
Jim and Eclipse Studios, and he did a lot when COVID tore everybody apart.
Oh yeah, he really reached out to the music community.
He gave me an opportunity to come in and do a recorded magic show, and it put a little extra money back.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Did you know that he was a builder in his former life?
No.
I think he said he built 600 homes
Wow.
in, I want to say, the Virginia area.
Wait, you know what? We had a conversation one night over a bottle of wine, and he was telling me how I could build my porch better than I built it. So yeah, I would say that's it.
Yeah.
So the seafood festival has always been 2 days.
No?
It was 3 at one time, wasn't it? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. It's got a weird history, and I'll give it to you real quick. In the beginning, it was one day, the day before Easter.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever day that is, Easter Saturday. And it was only 6 hours long. It was basically, well, maybe it was 8 hours long. But it was basically lunch in the plaza. And then it wanted to expand, but because the next day was Easter, the city said, no way, so you can have Friday. So we went to a Friday, Saturday event. And then one day we said, well, if we're ever going to really grow, we got to get away from Easter. So we backed up a few years, and then we became a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. And then the city started being bombarded with so many festivals. There's something on Francis Field all the time.
Yeah.
They started discouraging. Plus, Friday is a work day, which meant traffic, parking, making the neighborhood people angry. So they kind of encouraged us to drop Friday.
Well, the other encouragement created by the city, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the city upped their fees for everything. And,
Dramatically.
And a per day event. On a Friday, when you're not going to get that much business, it's not really lucrative to use Friday.
Exactly. And can I tell you, and I'm going to tell you what was true, and I assume it's still true, but the city, when they initially started using the field for events, the rental rate was pretty reasonable. And then big growth, lots of big events, Celtic Festival, Rhythm and Ribs, ours, et cetera, et cetera. They actually created a statute. Is that a good word? Statute?
Yep, that's a good
Ordinance, that we have to pay triple the rate than anybody else renting the field. There's only 2 people that have to do that now, the Celtic Festival and us. Mm-hmm. So if they're renting that field for $300 a day to another group, we have to pay $1,000 a day. So there was 2 things. That was trying to discourage us from having longer events. And they said our impact was the reason for the higher fee. In other words, we tear up the grass. We don't, but that's what we complain for. Well, people's feet, I guess, too. And so most people don't realize that it used to be 3 events were the only ones subject to this exception and that was Rhythm and Ribs and us and them. So they do make it tough. They make us have the shuttle, which I love the shuttle. I don't like the fact that last year they billed us $13,000 for the shuttle.
And there's no way for you to recoup any of that money back.
No, in fact, we're not allowed to charge to ride it or charge for parking. But as long as we're speaking about the shuttle, it is running Saturday, just the Saturday of the festival. The parking lot has been now reduced to just the one behind Rowdy's Liquor, that US
Yeah,
1
where
on King Street.
between the liquor and the railroad tracks,
Yes.
on the grass there.
And the shuttle will be running, in fact, I think it's 5 shuttles, I'm not sure of the number. And it will run for 12 hours. So you can ride it to the festival. In fact, I've been hashtagging come early, stay late. And then you can leave our festival at 8 o'clock, go visit one of your favorite watering holes, and then ride the shuttle back.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I understand why the city makes it difficult, but at the same time, I'm one of those kind of people that believes that there are other ways that the city could handle some of these things. The hugest problem now that we face, no matter if there's a festival or not, is that parking is ridiculous. It really is. And I'm not really so far at this point. A lot of people will argue with me on this, but I'm not really in big favor of the fact that they've taken everything and put it on a phone for parking.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who still, like, I'm not a phone fanatic. I mean,
I'm not.
half the time the ringer's turned off, people say, I called you. And I said, oh, did you? And, but yeah, and they just raised the rate again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I've had some conversations with the powers that be. And one time I was in a room full of city big shots. And I always wear a hat. For those of you who don't know me, I always have a hat on. This happens to be what we call in Philadelphia a Jeff. Or a newsboy's hat. But I typically wear a fedora. And I was in a meeting with the city, and they were making me so angry. And I was there on behalf of the Lions Seafood Festival, Lions Foundation. And so I said to them, literally and figuratively, I'm going to take this hat off because I'm going to get so angry and say stuff that I don't want you to blame the Lions. And we had a heated conversation about the parking issue.
They just, we try very hard to be middle of the road with things here. But St. Augustine's my hometown.
Yeah.
And I really get frustrated. And I see lots of tourists in my job.
Oh, yeah.
Daily.
Daily.
And some of the biggest complaints are that the city is not friendly when it comes to tourism. It really isn't.
So the city is what it's called reactive instead of proactive.
Right.
They wait till there's a big ass problem. I did it again.
That one's okay. I say
Oh,
that.
that's
one too.
okay. Yeah. And they wait till there's a big problem, and they then try to find a solution. And I love the city people, and I know they're all just doing their job. It's just the way bureaucracies work. But anybody could have seen it coming because you saw the annual growth in tourism here. And
well, they should have been on the ball a year before the 450th.
Absolutely.
They should have been on
Which,
the ball.
by the way,
starting
was
then.
an awesome event.
It was.
I love that event.
It was a great event.
Yeah.
In fact, somewhere up there, on the top, the city recognized the St. Augustine Swashbucklers.
Oh, you got a proclamation.
Yeah, we did.
Awesome.
We got a proclamation from the city for that year.
Yeah.
So it was a great event, but a year up to that event, and then at that event, they should have actually really been thinking about it to be proactive.
Right.
And now it's gotten to the point that whatever they do is not going to make many people happy.
So my statement to them was, tourism is driving this town, and if you don't prepare, I actually use the analogy of, look, you decided to throw a party for 20,000 people, but you only bought enough food for 5. I said, you have to prepare for the people you're inviting here. And I said, if not, you're going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. So can we give a toast to the city?
Yep, absolutely.
And let's just say, hopefully things start to work out, and one of these research projects that you do about mobility will get us going in the right direction.
Yes. Cheers to that. I mean, they don't need to be doing 3 or 4 road construction jobs at the same time.
And how about they finish 1 or 2 or 3?
Yeah, they need to finish 1 or 2. And here's the other one that I think is really silly. I've had conversations with other friends online about it, and in person, and it's a waste of money. They want to put a piece of artwork in that roundabout going over.
I saw that.
Yeah. that roundabout is so confusing anyway. Why do you want to put more stuff there?
Am I assuming is it a statue?
I don't know what it is yet. I don't think, I'm
Well,
not sure if they've decided
Can I just
yet.
throw something out there?
Yeah.
I think Captain Mayhem will look good if it's going to be a statue.
Yeah, then everybody will hate me even more.
with the ships wheel.
Yeah.
Hate you, they love you.
Yeah.
You're an icon here.
Yeah. But the city makes what we believe to be silly decisions, but sometimes the decisions are made
Right.
after they should have made the decisions, which is the way most governments go anyway. So let's go back to the Seafood Festival.
Yes, sir.
And not get too far away from it. So 41 years, you raise a god awful amount of money. You guys, yeah, forget. Menendez left it for Spain in 1566 and said, "Don't do anything till I get back." The city officials are still waiting. That's probably true. Yes. So,
Now, that was from Jim in case.
yeah, you know Jim, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a good supporter of our show every Monday night.
Yeah.
So a couple of things come up.
Okay.
On your website, you have a frequently asked questions section.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? There's a few in here that people may want to know about.
Okay.
For example, we've kind of talked about who the beneficiaries are, and it's not the Lions Club, it's all the charities.
Correct.
We've talked about the price.
Yeah.
If somebody walks away and then wants to come back, can they?
Yes, sir. You put your hand out and somebody will bam it.
There you go.
And,
There you go.
Look, if you come on Saturday and then you don't take a bath, you might be able to get back in on Sunday.
Didn't hear that from
I was
us.
going to say, you didn't hear that from me.
You have ATM machines on property,
Yes, sir.
so that's always good. You have not only beer and wine, but you have.
Now we have spirits. I think that's the correct term.
That's a good term.
We have a full spirit bar, both regular and frozen. And guess what else we have?
What?
We have an entire bar called Novel Libations. That is all for those people who do not partake in alcohol but want to have a mocktail. So that would be anything beer or
Oh, they like that.
was that a thing?
That was applause for that
Oh,
idea.
man.
Yeah, Davey's pretty good about throwing a few things.
Yeah,
in
that was
there.
great. Dave,
Good timing
give
there.
that Dave a raise.
Yeah, he's gonna get a double his raise right now, which is nothing. So
You want a raise? Stand on a box.
there you go. That's it. So parking is the garage and
And then
the
the outside
shuttle over by Browdy's, which is a King
And
Street.
in the local area, here's an interesting story because we care about the people that come to the event. We understand they're hardworking people spending their hard-earned dollars. So this year, we have managed to get 3 of the local parking lots around the festival grounds.
Right.
And we have partnered with Ayla's Acres, which is an animal rescue. And they're going to man them. And they wanted to charge $20. And we said, no, let's treat the people a little better. And I think it's going to be 15. And Ayla Acres is going to get a big fat check out of it.
Well, that's good.
So there you go.
And those parking lots will be reserved for the workers of the festival.
No, just say who first come, first serve.
Oh, really?
So the workers, the staff, the volunteers, we have parking lots reserved
Right.
that are obviously free to them. But then there's other lots, Orange Street lot, all right in that general area. So at part of the time, the bank lot when the bank's not open, and so Ayla's Acres makes a nice chunk of change, and we partner with them.
Okay. Well, let me know those exact locations.
Okay.
Because I'll tell my crew and any of the pirates that are coming to support us
Right.
to go to those parking lots so they can support Alias Acres at the same
Which is a
time.
great organization.
And we do Alias Acres. We also work with the I want to say the City Pound Humane Society. Yeah, I was going to say the Humane Society. So
What's your dog's name?
Max.
Okay.
Max, and he's a purebred Basset. And then we have 4 cats in here. Max thinks he's a cat, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So, instead of me asking that question, I'm going to throw a little something different into it,
Yeah,
because we talked about it pre-show.
that's right.
So some people think that the food is expensive at the festival.
Yes.
First thing I say is, all festivals food is
Yes,
expensive.
exactly.
And for an organization, a restaurant to come out and do on-site work, there's probably a little bit more
Oh, it's
involved.
a tremendous thing.
And it costs them a little bit more. So
Yes.
they've got to charge a little bit more. But
And
here's
there's
the
a
more.
risk.
Go ahead.
There's a risk involved. So if in your brick and mortar stores, obviously they open, they have an expectation of what Friday, Saturday, Sunday brings.
Right.
You go to an event, you could get rained on, you could have some.
That's true.
You could have equipment failure. So there is a risk that they have to, build into.
And they could lose anywhere from a quarter to half of their inventory
Yeah.
at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Or cook it and then nobody's there to eat it.
Exactly.
So that's a couple of reasons that I'm hoping to ease the pain for those of you that think it's expensive. Here's one other reason, what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Your vendors give 20% of
Back.
what they make back.
Back.
They get the site for free, but they're giving 20%. So 20% right off the top.
That's right. And it's funny because I have to tell you, I want to say that probably this year I feel we have our best lineup. It's a slightly smaller lineup. We decided over the years we had grown, and then you start to, it's a pie, and there's only so many ways you can slice it. So we reduced it slightly, and I have to say the seafood vendors we have are literally award-winning. Some of them are out of Jacksonville, some of them are local, a couple of local restaurants, then a few that we bring in from other cities because of their professionals, but the professional caterers is what they are. My personal favorite is the shrimp and grits.
Yep.
At one of the vendors there. I'm not going to say the name because that'll be a plug for them and not a plug for the other ones. But yeah, they do. They come there, they take that risk, they bring staff, they bring equipment, they bring food, and they give 20%, back. What was my saying? I used to say, eat, drink, shop until you drop or something.
Yeah.
So a goal is to get you to come out and have a good time, but the whole time you're there to remember that you are supporting a charitable event.
Well, you're not just supporting one charity in St. Augustine, you're supporting dozens of charities in St. Augustine. So your money added to everybody else's money gets spread across the entire community, and that's a good thing.
And one more thing on the price of food. Yes, seafood is also the most expensive thing to produce, except maybe prime steaks of some type. But we do try to remember that not everybody can do that. So you're going to find hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, so that you can try to stay in your family's budget if that's what it needs to be. We don't expect that everybody will buy seafood.
The only thing I don't like, honest to goodness, and I don't have a solution, so this is just me saying without griping. Sometimes when you're ready to eat, the lines are just ungodly long.
Yeah.
And there's no solution to that one.
No. And it's funny because we're all sort of creatures of similar minds. And so it's funny how you just all want to show up at the same time at the same place.
Yep.
I can, if I want you say, well, what's your advice for that, Doc? And my advice is, if possible in your personal schedule, try coming on Sunday instead of Saturday. Typically, Sundays are much quieter as far as the crowds go, and you get still great pirates, you still get great food, you still get great entertainment, and a little less of the crowd.
Yes, that's true too. So last year, you had somebody, they were from up near Virginia that had the raw oysters.
Yeah.
Are they coming back?
No, they decided travel, and it's so funny because they decided that raw oysters was probably not the best thing to take from festival to festival, state to state.
Yeah.
Because either you're bringing them, and that's so damn risky.
Yep.
Or you're not sure what your supply will be when you get there.
Yeah.
And so if you watch them, if you follow them on their Facebook page, they are now staying pretty much in like a 50-mile radius of their home in Virginia.
Well, that's a
It
shame
makes sense.
because I enjoyed eating their oysters and having conversations with them too.
Okay.
So they were really good. But
So those are raw oysters. So oysters in the half shell. We will of course have fried oysters.
and at least one or two of the places make great crab cakes.
Crab cakes. We got some alligator this year. The one thing we don't have this year that I'm very, very disappointed in, and that's octopus. We've had octopus on the menu for years. And a Greek fellow used to come and make it for us, and he used to curse me, and he'd say, "Do you know how hard it is to produce quality octopus in this setting?" And I'd say, "Well, is it?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, why do you offer it on the menu?" He said, "Because you asked for it, and you insist it's on the menu every year." And I said, "Well, I thank you very much, but he is not with us this year, and so we're going to have the poop ball, which is octopus."
Oh, darn.
The
I like that. My
Excuse
wife
me.
doesn't.
You're not a colonel, you're a captain and a commodore.
Captain.
Captain.
We tried Commodore Mayhem for a while.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I backed away from it was that children,
Right.
they don't understand what Commodore
Commodore,
is.
yeah.
You know, you got Captain Kangaroo, Captain America, Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
So the kids understand Captain, so we dropped it back down to Captain, and I just remained Captain.
And
Commodore
is
does.
Jack Sparrow a captain?
Jack Sparrow is a captain.
Oh, yeah, so that's pretty good. I was just going to comment, y'all can't tell, but the captain here has an octopus over here in the corner.
I do. I have two of them over there, actually. One's on the other chair.
Yeah.
So I do. I like octopus, but my wife gets really mad when we eat it because she thinks they're cute. So they're edible.
I know they're highly intelligent. I don't know if cute's a good.
Yeah, they are. Davey, have we got any other questions that popped up? I think I saw one by Nightingale there just a minute ago. The food at the festival is still cheaper than at theme park.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're absolutely right. They sure are.
Yeah.
So somebody asked, and you still do it, what's the 50-50 that you've been doing? You do a 50-50?
So we do a 50-50 raffle, which I think is legal. Never really asked, but I'm assuming. And what that is, you just buy a ticket for $5. And the Wednesday after the festival, now we've been selling the tickets since Christmas because they make good stocking stuffers. So I don't know how much money's in the pot at the moment, but then through the festival, we'll sell the tickets the whole time. And then whatever's in the pot, let's say there's $6,000 in the pot. As the name implies, 50-50. The winner gets half. The St. Augustine Lions Foundation, which is a charitable organ, 501c3, gets the other half to continue our mission. We do the drawing after the festival to be fair because everybody's selling them, and Lions like me, we've had them in our hands since Christmas. So we want to make sure that everybody's little ticket stubs are turned in.
Right.
All the money is properly counted. Some people say, "Well, draw at the festival," and it's like, well, there's people out there selling,
Right.
to their neighbors. They're not necessarily at the festival. But typically, somebody wins $2,500, $3,000, $3,700. So it's called 50-50 because you win half of the pot.
I think I've bought some tickets every year.
It's
Never won.
It's so awesome too because what's that saying? God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, so post COVID, because we had 2 years with no festival because COVID.
Right.
Both winners were very deserving, let's put it that way, and had compelling personal stories, and it was like the money couldn't have came at a better time.
That's always the best time too. The
Yeah.
best way for it.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I firmly believe that when it comes to anything like that, there are mysterious ways at work, and it always works that way.
Yeah.
So so you've had many hats as you put this on. And every year I hear you say these words, I'm not doing it next year.
So,
But you do it every year.
yes. So when I first joined the Lions Club, February 1995, my oldest son was in diapers. We went and we worked, and we were there till midnight. And it was like, oh my God, I'll never do this again. And of course, I stayed in the Lions Club. And after 2 or 3 years, I have a big mouth. So I started telling you, well, if I was in charge, I would do it differently. So you know what that means, right? I self-volunteered. And so eventually I became co-chairman of the event and then chairman of the event. And I've remained chairman for more than 20 years. I think it was 21, 22 years. And in 2017, I actually told my organization, I can't do it anymore. And so I stepped aside in 2018, was recruited back. And then 19, 20 was COVID, and 21 was that. So I thought, because actually that was the one upside of COVID, I was like, no festival for 2 years, I am off the hook. So I'm back, but one thing I will say is our Lion president, Lion Memory Hopkins, who did I say Hawkins? Hopkins, is now the admin for the festival, as the name implies, administrator. So a lot of the stuff, she's taken off my shoulders. So meaning like liquor licenses, the insurance, fighting with the city. And I've been left with doing some more fun stuff, which this year is the food, entertainment. Pirates are part of the entertainment, and the exhibitors. Of course, I'm the treasurer, but I'm the treasurer for the whole Lions Club. And apparently, I just saw today a nice email that says I've been nominated for another year.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that means we'll be working together in 2025, right?
Yeah.
So, Davey, you got that poster I gave you? There are some errors on it. We know that. But I wanted to talk about entertainment at the Pirates Landing. There you go.
Oh, wait.
There. Now, this is a version 2, but as you can see, we've got some time slots that are set up that some of the pirates of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers want to sit and read stories to the children. So we'll have several different pirate books that they can read out of my collection here. Andrew the Absurd. He juggles, he does magic, he does escapes. He is a crowd pleaser.
I'm glad you clarified that.
What's that?
I saw this the other day, and it said Andrew the Absurd, and I said I will have to find out what defines absurd.
Yes, he does some great escapes. When I need somebody to fill in as a magician that I can't go do a show, Andrew is always the guy I like to call because he does such a great job. And he's now going to perform. He's going to do 2 shows on Saturday and 2 shows on Sunday.
Awesome.
Captain Mayhem is going to do at least 1 show on Saturday. I may do a second. And let's see. Also, the Scars Dance with Miss Gina. She already has another event going on that day, but we'll be showing up just in time to do a Scars Dance with all the children. And I'll clarify that a little bit better on the poster, that it is a children's scarf dance, so everybody gets to learn how to dance. Then Saturday night, something we've never done, from 5:30 to 8 o'clock under the tent, the Swashbucklers Pirate Landing tent, we're going to have a sea shanty sing-along. I know that some of the people that are already going to be there are Mark Miller and his 2 boys, and they're part of Rusty Cutlass from the Disney Pirate Band, but they're coming up to sing shanties. Diego is coming. Diego, a lot of people know Diego from here in St. Augustine. We've done other work and plays together, but he's now a crew member on the Trinidad, the Neo Trinidad down
Awesome.
in the marina. And so he's going to come. And I sent a message over and have been talking to the promotional person of the Trinidad, and all the crew is to be invited to come and hang out in our tent and sing sea shanties and just have a good time. For 2.5 hours of piratical entertainment into the evening. And it'll be open to everybody. I do know there are a few other musicians that are coming in from other parts of the area. I'm not going to say who they are yet, just in case. But I would venture to guess that I will have anywhere from 9 to 15 musicians all playing music. And then a shipload of pirates. A boatload of pirates sitting there and singing. Then on Sunday, my good friend Jay Tucci, Captain Jay, will be doing balloons all day for the kids and sword balloons if you want them. And at 2:30, we're going to do a short story time and a pirate sword fighting class for children, both with myself and Captain Jay. We also have Andrew the Absurd. We have the Ancient City Sirens going to do 2 sets and a couple of story times. So,
what are the Ancient City Sirens?
Ancient City Sirens, that's Miss Gina's group. They are a belly dancing group.
Oh, okay.
Some people know them also as their, I'll say, nom de plume, the Blue Lotus Dancers.
Oh, okay.
So they go under both names, and they will be there doing some work with us also. And I think they're doing 2 sets. They're doing a 12:30 and a 4:30 set on Sunday. Andrew will be doing his great Chain Escape. 50.
Yay!
Yep, that's a pretty good one. Plus, he's just a really good entertainer.
Good.
And so we've got a really good lineup. I have a few blank spots there still. I'll be updating this over the next day. But we've got a great lineup and some quality entertainers for Spanish Landing. Can I change that and call it Pirate Landing now?
Yes.
Okay.
So, when we first came up with that, we had Spanish Landing, wait a minute, Spanish Landing and Pirate Cove.
Yes. Yep.
And as things evolved, it became the pirates took over. So
Yep.
Spanish Landing,
And we've
Pirate Landing. Yeah, Pirate Landing. I think is what we're officially calling it.
So there was one year that we did that it was so cold that we were all standing around in a circle together with flags and blankets all over us because it was so cold.
Was that 2008?
I think it was 2012 or 13.
So,
It was
Captain,
cold.
do you also remember there were years where you had musket firings?
Yes, we did. We had musket firing.
Yeah, yeah,
Jim Stafford helped us with one of those.
yeah, yeah.
We did that. We've gone through and done all kinds of different things, so it's always been fun trying to come up with something new and something different. And this year, it's going to have a different look. We're really trying to bring it all back out of the box and make it exciting and fun for everybody.
Yeah, and speaking of fun for everybody, if I'm not mistaken, at Pirate Landing, we'll have, what's the name of your pirate ship?
It is Miss Gina's ship, and I'm not even sure she's given it a name.
We must christen it.
We might have
Let's
to
have a
christen it.
ceremony at the festival.
Yeah, I'll have to ask her what she's named it, and then we should.
We'll do a christening.
We've never done an official christening of her ship.
If she thinks of it, Saturday morning, I should mention this to the viewers. Saturday morning, right as the festival's just getting cranked up, we bring in 5 celebrity judges. Most of them are city or county employees, so I'm very sorry that we baxed you earlier. And we do a food tasting contest, and they sit down, and it's blind. There's only numbers, and they rate them, and then the food vendors can win ribbons and all that. My thoughts is that if she can come up with a name, or she has a name and wishes to share it, and wants to do a little christening, I'm wondering we might be able to get one of those 2 dignitaries over there. And I know there's a couple of well-known
Okay.
big shots.
I will talk to her. I asked her if she'd watch the show tonight. I'm not sure if she did or not. If she's watching it, great. If not, I'll talk to her first
So when
thing
you
in the morning.
christen a pirate ship, you certainly don't use a bottle of champagne.
No, we'll use rum.
Rum. Okay, that's what
We'll
I
use
thought.
rum.
You got
And we'll use cheap rum.
it.
Not going to waste good rum, that's for sure. All right. So, the Seafood Festival, April 6 and 7,
Saturday, Sunday, yes, sir.
Saturday, Sunday. 10 in the morning, the gates open. 11 on Sunday,
Yeah,
though.
it's 10 on Saturday, 11 on Sunday.
Captain, I think she named it Siren's Revenge, I believe.
Did she?
Yes.
After my older ship, Mayhem's Revenge.
Mayhem's Revenge.
All right. Well, we may have to go ahead and give her a christening of it
Yeah,
anyway.
let's see what she says.
All right. Very good.
But yeah, 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Right.
11 o'clock on Sunday, and then obviously we go till 9 o'clock Saturday, and we're done at 6 on Sunday. You guys have been running the website across the screen, so it's lionsfestival.com. Click on entertainment and activities. It kind of gives you a little cross, because some of what you guys do, while it's entertaining, it's also activity. Speaking of which, isn't there some activities adjoining?
We do have the Pirate Museum, the Nautical Museum, so people can come and look and touch and hold pirate.
Okay.
We have a mermaid tent with live mermaids for photo opportunities
Gotcha.
and to stand in there with the mermaids. We have a ship store where some of the kiddos can make purchases of all the things they need
and
to be
don't you have some
pirates.
kiddie games?
And we do have kid games too. We have this year, I think we're going to use Plinko. We have a giant Plinko.
Okay.
We have an axe throw.
Awesome.
And we, one of the favorites of everybody seems to be giant Jenga.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody likes giant Jenga, so we'll probably have that one out there because the way we run giant Jenga is any child can find any pirate, walk up to them and say, I challenge you, and that pirate has no way to get out of it and must accept the challenge and play against that child.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think there's some prizes when they play the games.
We do have prizes for all the games. So every kid gets to play for free.
The pirates are generous with the booty.
Yeah,
So that's good.
And we give away whatever we happen to have. One year, I think we just threw a whole bunch of stuff in the chest and kids could take whatever they wanted.
Yes.
I haven't decided what we're going to do this year. But every kid plays for free.
Plays for free, every kid.
That's the best part.
Now, while we're talking about axe throwing, we have also at the festival for adults in a cage, axe throwing.
A real axe throwing, yes.
Yes, and the guy that runs his name is Daryl. It's called American Axe Throwing. It's a pretty cool operation. If you got some frustrations that weekend, it's a good way to.
I've talked to him a couple of times before. We have a cloth with Velcro
Right, for the kids.
plastic axes,
Yeah.
so nobody can get hurt. And at this point right now, it's 3 games. I'm working on the idea of another one that we've never done before. And if I have the time, I might bring it out and have some fun with it because for Christmas, Santa Claus gave me a pair of, these aren't them, but gave me a pair of flintlock Nerf guns.
Oh yeah.
And
Plus, you know what I've always wanted?
what's that?
A pin the ponytail in the pirate contest.
Oh,
Yeah, that's one that I've thought about for a long time.
we'll have to think about that one.
Pin the tail in the pony. See, now you couldn't do that with me because
No,
you've got the ponytail.
that's it. Well, we'll have to think about that, but we're working on maybe a 4th game, but we'll see how it goes. But everything, plus the entertainment, and this year, because of a good relationship we have with the Lions Club, we've always had to do all of our entertainment out under the sun. And it's always been tough for people to sit there for 20 or 30 or 40 minutes in the sun and watch entertainment, no matter how good our entertainment is.
Yeah.
And people come and then they walk away. This year there is a tent.
Hey, with seating.
Yes, with seating. So all of our watchers for our entertainers will be under the tent, under the shade. And it will be much more conducive to have people stay and enjoy the entertainment that we have for you.
But now let's not forget, I may be speaking out of turn, but if your children are well behaved, bring them to the lovely pirates. And while you sneak over here to the main stage and listen
Especially during story time.
story time, that's right.
We have
And you
4
go
of
over there
those set up.
Hear some classic Southern rock. We have an 80s tribute band bringing us back to our youth.
So we have at least 4 story times set up that will be for about 15 to 20 minutes, or depending on how long the book will last. I already have at least 2 of my crew have jumped up and down saying, I want to do it, and we'd love to have them. So
Keep in mind, though, if you bring a child and you drop him off and he's not well behaved, we still have walk the plank. So.
that, and we might have to bring a cage. We'll see.
Oh, stockades.
We can do that too.
Stockades, cages.
So it's going to be a great time. The Seafood Festival has always been a fun one for us as the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. It's not really a lot of work, and I've tried to pare it down so most of the crew can still enjoy
have some fun.
and have some fun. And
All work and no play makes for a dull fellow.
and it makes for cranky crew members too.
Yes.
So we've divided the time for running the games to about an hour and a half time slots, so it's not too bad.
Will
Plus
you be
the
doing
entertainment.
any magic?
I will. I'm going to do at least 1 show on Sunday, and there's an extra slot that if it doesn't get filled, I'll do 2 shows on Sunday or Saturday. 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
But will you be doing some magic mixed in with your pirates?
I might.
Okay.
I always walk around and magically give away coins and stuff, so
Yes.
I always do that.
You are a talented you are not musician.
No.
I don't think you have any musical
I
talent.
don't. I can barely sing. I can't carry a tune in a peach basket.
But you're a very talented magician. And I know that because I have actually seen your shows that were actually full magic shows. Do you remember doing them in the Colonial Oak?
Yep.
Do you remember who your beautiful
My
assistant
beautiful
was?
assistant. Yep.
Who
Who's
is
now a
my
mom.
who's now my daughter-in-law.
Yep.
So Captain Mayhem's beautiful assistant in his magic show she is now my daughter-in-law, and more importantly so, the mother of my beautiful grandson Milo.
Yes. Are they coming for the weekend? Darn.
No.
I was hoping I was going to get to
I
see
know,
them.
me too.
Well, next time around.
Yeah, well, they're North Carolina, and then the far side of North Carolina. And it's hard to travel with a 1-year-old.
Yeah, it is. It's not that easy. All right, so let's see here, Davey. Why don't we
Wake up, dude.
let's
I'm
go ahead
awake.
and click into This Week in History, sponsored by Dick's Wings. How about that?
All right.
Welcome to This Week in History, sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings Bar and Grill. Wings, salads, wraps, quesadillas, and more. No matter what your taste buds crave, they've got you covered.
We begin this week in history in the year 1776. Continental Congress authorized a medal for George Washington. 1863. First U.S. Army Medal of Honor awarded to 6 Army soldiers by U.S. Secretary of War Edwin Stanton in Washington. 1866. U.S. President Andrew Johnson vetoes Civil Rights Bill. It later becomes 14th Amendment. 1867. Alaska Purchase. U.S. buys Alaska from Russia for $7,200,000. $109 million in 2018, roughly 2 cents an acre. 1889. Eiffel Tower officially opens in Paris. Designed by Gustave Eiffel and built for the Exposition Universelle. At 300 meters high, it retains the record for the tallest man-made structure for 41 years. 1918. First daylight savings time in U.S. goes into effect. 1919. Woodrow Wilson's dream of a League of Nations becomes a reality after the League Covenant is adopted at the Paris Peace Conference. 1937. It is revealed Quaker Oats pays Babe Ruth $25,000 per year for ads. Also, 1937, spinach growers of Crystal City, Texas, erect statue of Popeye. 1943, Jimmy Durante and Gary Moore premiere on radio. 1974, Chinese farmers discovers the Terracotta Army near Xi'an. 8,000 Clare warrior statues buried to guard the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. And finally, in 2001, at 15 years, 9 months, American swimmer Michael Phelps breaks the 200 meters butterfly world record at the U.S. World Championship Trials at Austin, Texas, becomes youngest male to set a world mark. And that was This Week in History.
Very good, Davey. Very good. I've gone through and looked at some of the ones here. I've gone all the way to the back. I see Gina Marie is watching us.
She is.
And I see Mark Miller is watching us too. So let's say a few hellos and everything else. Keep up with me there. Zachary Harker up there in Michigan. Hey, good to see you watching the show. There's Teresa Mercurio. Is the podcast about St. Augustine Lions Seafood Festival. As you can see,
That's kind of early on.
it's about everything.
Yeah.
So be watching us. Let's see. Nightingale in Florida. She's a local St. Augustine swashbuckler. Will the historian from North Alabama. I see Ransom Nahum from Panama City Beach, Florida. Nightingale says that what she does for Easter is church and family. And Will the historian says he sleeps for 3 days, then wakes up for church. And then Ransom says church, then peaceful time on the beach across the street from the house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Jim Neuenfeld says Spanish Landing used to be a great restaurant on San Marco by the Mission. I don't remember that one.
Oh, I think I do remember that.
Yeah.
I've been in St. Augustine since the 80s.
And Jim also says Easter weekend has been traditionally arts and crafts festival as long as I remember. It used to be downtown in the plaza.
Yes.
Times change.
They had some trouble with the funding on that. Which
Yeah.
is a shame.
Let's see. A Facebook user Looking forward to the Seafood Fest and St. Augustine's Shanty Fest. That would be our start right there. And Captain Smoo is on board. Captain Smoo from Quebec. He is in Florida, down near Orlando, and we may see him this weekend coming up. We'll see how his travels go. So any of the crew watching, be ready for a last-minute call that I might put the word out that fire circle in my backyard at the last minute. Ransom Mayhem. We deal with all the tourist rules and government stuff and road construction here in PCB all year long. Yep. And tourist season in St. Augustine is all year long now here.
Pretty much, yeah. There's some slight ebbs and things. My wife and I have this, I'm going to call it, we like to self-torture. So my mother-in-law lives on the other side of St. Augustine and we're on the south side. So every time I go visit my mother-in-law, either going or coming back, we make a point of driving right through the heart of downtown when we could bypass it,
right,
by US 1 or Masters Drive, right? And I'm just amazed now how many people are on the streets on what I consider a nothing weekend, in the sense that it's not a 3-day weekend, it's not a holiday,
right.
It's not spring break. It's crazy.
I mean, it's and you know that I do school tours at the museum.
Yeah.
And in January and February, just those 2 months, the museum was booked for about 512 school tours in that 60 days.
Holy smokes.
It's gotten, a part of me says it's gotten out of hand. But the other part of me says, well, it makes for good paychecks.
Sure. So, Captain,
Yes,
I have a question for you.
ask away.
So when you're doing your tours at the, am I allowed to say the place?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
They're our biggest sponsor up at the top
okay.
corner.
At the Pirate Museum here in St. Augustine, which, by the way, when I heard they would bring us a Pirate Museum, I said to my wife, I said, seriously? And then that first time I went, I said, holy crap.
Yep.
What a well done, great place that is not hokey. I mean, it is. If you haven't been there, you got to go. But I want to ask you, when you do all these tours with kids, I'll be honest here, have you made a child cry?
I have.
Yeah, I thought so.
I've made a few children cry.
Yeah, not on purpose.
Not on purpose, because I'm pretty stern, and we have rules.
Mhm.
Pirates have rules.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I tell the children before they enter, that the museum is like a library. It's a
Absolutely.
place of learning. It's not a place
Absolutely.
to be cutting up in at playground.
Absolutely.
And so,
Is the same owner?
yes, Mr.
So
Pat Croce.
So big thumbs up to Pat Croce for not only conceptualizing it, but executing it in a respectful way that respects the true history, the pirates, and the local peoples. Not being like, I don't know if you've been in Niagara Falls.
I've never had.
So there's some really hokey things. So I just think him and whoever his curator was, and of course you're part of it now, have done a fabulous job over there.
And I've been part of it since they opened, 1 month shy of that, but I've been a part of it now for just over 13 years. And we've been going back and looking at the records, and it appears that somewhere along the line of 9,600 tours I've done.
No.
9,600
So
tours.
when will you hit the 10,000 so we can have a celebration?
Probably hit the 10,000 right at, if everything goes the way I'm seeing it. The 14th anniversary of the museum will be in December of this year,
Okay.
and it might be 10,000 tours by then too.
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Well, we have to do something. But
So we're going to have to do something.
But you really should know that something's being done. So we need one of you guys out there, stay in touch, let us know so we can surprise the captain.
Yes, well, thank you. Are we going to have any roasted oysters at the event?
I don't know. One of the vendors has it on the menu, but there's a question mark about availability and other things. So we're trying to have them, but probably won't know for sure till about 4 or 5 days before.
And Ransom Mayhem asks if the seafood that is served, is it locally caught seafood? That answer is probably no, right?
Well, the shrimp, a lot of that is locally. In fact, we have I call it Amelia Island shrimp roll. So it's a lot of that shrimp comes from Mayport. Most, if you're talking things like calamari, and we have alligator,
Right.
no, that's not going to be locally caught. But I will tell you, these food vendors, caterers, they really are. are professionals. They do this for a living, and they do seek out the best quality ingredients that they can get, whether it's frozen, flash frozen, or fresh. And pretty giant variety of things that are available in a sense, like I said, from alligator. The number one selling, we know what the number one selling item is, right? Shrimp.
Shrimp.
Everybody wants shrimp.
Everybody wants
So you can have shrimp and grits, you can have fried shrimp, you can have grilled shrimp, you can have shrimp on the skewer, you can have shrimp bisque. So I always make a joke about we need to have some more really exotic stuff. And then they bring me reality and they say, yeah, who's buying that?
Yeah.
What do people want? They want shrimp and
They want
crabs.
shrimp. Yeah.
We do have lobster sickles,
Oh, really?
lobster tail on a stick.
Mm.
And we do have some conch, and we have a fresh conch salad that will be at one of the vendors.
Oh, that sounds good. I'll have to try
Yeah,
that
if
one.
you go to their Facebook page, you'll see, scroll down, you'll see a posting, and there's a picture of some fresh conch salad that is just.
Well, I've always enjoyed all the food. I've never gotten bad food from any time at the seafood. Captain Smoo made a really good point right there. When we were talking about the cost of food, but the food at a festival is so good, sometimes I feel like I'm not paying enough for the place.
Thank you, Captain.
Yeah, that's a good one. If that's the case, then make sure you throw some money in one of the tip jars and tell them it's more for charity.
I tell you who likes to get tips. I mean, everybody likes tips. Food vendors love tips. But and I'm going to say ladies because they're the majority, but it's men and ladies serving the beer.
Yeah.
Now, they don't get to keep the tips.
Uh-huh.
All the tips go into the pot for the charity, right? But we have an East and a West beer booth. And so there's a friendly competition about, and they've brought in some pretty good change in those little metal
Well,
cans.
the Swashbucklers run the major beer booth at the Celtic Festival,
Okay.
and we get to keep all the tip money for our charity.
Yeah.
And it makes some pretty good change for 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
It didn't do as good this year as it's done in the past.
Did you guys get rained on Saturday?
Yeah, a little bit.
I thought so. I was at work. And I was
The amount of tips we made this year was about $700-800 less than it was last year. The rain might have had a little bit to do with it.
Yeah.
They also shut down an hour early on Saturday because of lightning in the area.
Yeah.
So that may have had something to do with it. But
So you guys were serving beer, tap
beer,
okay.
Whiskey, and mead.
Mead.
And mead was good too.
Now, where does the meat come from?
I don't remember, but I can show you at the end of the show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The other thing that I think, and I've noticed this when I was setting up my festival, so another question for you. Did you notice that certain purse strings were a little tighter this year?
Yeah.
I think because it's an election year.
Could be that. I always believe there's always more than one thing, because I don't ever believe that one thing moves the needle that much.
Right.
But you get a pot thing. So you could have election year. You could have whatever fears people have, whether it's fear of wars, COVID, whatever the case may be. But in this area, I coined a phrase, and I'm sure it's not original, but there are so many festivals now, I call it festival fatigue. And at some point it becomes how much can you get from a sponsor? How much can you get from the visitors? And what we appreciate everybody's assistance in either putting money in the pot, visiting and all that. But I do believe that, so for instance, Francis Field, the Field, has the Celtic Festival. This weekend was the Palm Sunday Holiday Art Show. 2 weeks is our show. 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that is the As If Festival. And the list just goes on and on.
Right.
So I do believe that is one of whatever contributing factors are out there as far as purse strings being tighter.
So that brings me to the point, and what we do is mail call in Captain's Corner, and it brings me to a really good point. And I've already made the point a couple of times, but I'm going to beat a dead horse tonight. There are within the pirate community, there are so many pirate crews all around Florida, and they get into spitting matches at times because Well, you just put an event on top of the same one as my event.
Yeah.
You can't not do that anymore. It doesn't work. I mean, and really, it's what I said about the two events I'm going to in a couple of weeks. Friday night event with the Seawolves because I'm supporting them. Saturday afternoon event, even though they have a Saturday night event, the Seawolves do, because they're a 2-night event. It doesn't impede people from going to both.
That's right.
It's one of the reasons I'm going. But we can support each other on their events, not just by attending,
Right.
but by getting the word out.
Oh, yes.
That's what social media really is good for.
Absolutely, yeah.
Help get the word out. Send a small donation if you want, and do what you can to help that event.
And remember the old saying, you only live once.
That's true.
And we Americans are very work-centric. We work, and we look forward to that retirement over here. And sometimes we forget to enjoy the time in between.
That's what I'm trying to do now as I get older. I'm trying not to do as much.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'll give you another example. We do our Halloween event, which is 3 nights. It's only 3 hours each of the 3 nights. Right. I've been doing a Halloween event now for 12 or 15 years. Another pirate crew has come along, and over the last couple of years, they've done an event on Saturday night. It's caused animosity. Here's why it shouldn't cause animosity. Their event is 1 night for all adults.
Right.
My event is 3 nights for families.
Yeah.
Anybody that's an adult that would want to come to their event could come to my event on Friday or Sunday.
Right.
So when you're looking at these events, instead of getting mad or upset or causing animosity, look at the differences in the events.
Sure.
So that you can maybe formulate a good plan to support both events.
And you know what? I think an absolutely awesome weekend is when you get to go to 2 events. I mean, think about it. Go to work on Monday and say, hey, man, I went to this one and I went to that one, and I had a good time at both.
And you can't, if you pull up any calendar that has anything to do with events in the entire state of Florida, there are more events on every weekend. There's only 52 weekends in a year. How can you not put your event on top of somebody else's event?
Absolutely.
It's
tough.
It is tough. It can't not be done. It's an impossibility. So what you have to do, and here's the other thing I tell people, at least within the pirate community, stop making pirate events for pirates.
Right.
Make the pirate event that you're doing like Old City Pirate Fest, which has become Old City Pirate Day. It's not for pirates.
Right.
It's for the families of St. Augustine and the kids to come have fun.
Yes.
That's my customer base.
Yeah.
It's not the other pirates. Right. I'm happy and pleased and flattered if other pirates come and buy a ticket or drop some money in a donation bucket and say, hey, we'd like to support what you're doing. Pleased as punch to have that. But I'm not building events for pirates.
Right. Yeah, we have to remember that I'm probably one of the worst offenders. And in my business, I people will say, what do you like? What do you think for my home? And I'll go, you're probably asking the wrong guy. I may have been doing this for 40 years, but I'm always an outlier. I'm an old boomer. So I can't sell things in my shop that I think I want. I have to think about.
You do.
And the same thing with the festival. You have to say, what's our target demographic? And then sometimes you find out after a few years that your target was over here and you kind of missed it. And that's kind of what I like about the Celtic Festival. When they first came to town, there was the first few years we were literally 1 week apart.
Yep.
But they've evolved into a very specific type of entertainment with a specific demographic, and we've evolved a little over here. So we're both doing it for charity, and they're different enough that you could go to both.
Right.
Or you could say this one appeals to me and this one appeals. Somebody else may appeal to that one.
I'll give you another example along those lines.
Okay.
I've been doing professional magic shows since I was 16. I will be 66 in May. That's 50 years. There are some magic tricks in my show that I don't like doing. Mm-hmm. But the only reason I do them is because the audience likes it.
The audience likes it, yeah.
And they will ask me for certain tricks. And it's like, yep, I'm going to do that one again.
So, Captain, 50 years doing magic.
Yep.
How long have you been married?
25.
So would it be safe to say that magic was your first love?
Magic was my first
There
love.
you go.
And my second love is the woman in my life right now.
That's great.
And we'll leave it at that,
Yes.
along with the cats and the dogs. So that was my mail call, Davey. Short and sweet. We want people to support all events that they can,
Yeah.
but there are many ways to support an event.
Yeah.
Presence is one, obviously. Support by getting the word out and talking positive about events.
Yeah.
And two, if you like the charities that they do, I'm sure, as we would at the Swashbucklers, we have people that come up to us all the time. Some of my crew, even when we're downtown and we're just having a drink somewhere and making a presence, we have people go, well, what do you do? And we tell them about the charities.
Yeah.
We've got people that'll open their wallet and give us a 20 or a 50 and say, here,
Yeah.
put this in your charity bin.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. So those are the three major ways you can support any event without feeling like there are too many on top of each other.
And I have a suggestion.
Go ahead.
And this is not just related to events, but just in general. Every event has hiccups. Things happen. Things don't always go certain ways. If you have a complaint, go to the websites, find a contact, send your constructive criticism, and somebody will follow up on it. Don't go on social media and rant and rave.
No, please don't. Social media, that's not what it's for.
No.
My father always used to say, if you find something you don't like or something's wrong, if you think about it and come up with maybe a solution. It may not be a good solution, but at the same time that you're complaining, offer the solution at the same time. It means you put thought into it, and you're not just a whiner or a complainer or a negative Nelly.
It's a role at my shop. The role at my shop is we're not looking for problems, we're looking for solutions.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
And you made one other comment, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
When I do my acting class, which by the way, I'll start advertising that next week. We do an acting seminar. I'm going to do one in at least May, June, July, and August, 4 of them this year. I always talk about constructive and destructive criticism.
Right.
Destructive criticism serves no purpose.
Right.
Constructive criticism is construction, building up. Destruction is destroying. So use the contact points that you can when you have a bad event.
Yeah.
Using social media, it's not the way to go. It's not the way to go. On that note, Davey, pardon me, I did send you a new clip for guests for next on deck. So here's a couple of things we got coming up. April 1st will be Magic and April Fool's Day. I have several magician friends coming in, I hope, and we're going to sit around the poker table and just talk magic. 15th of April, Will the Historian, my son, will be joining us for a talk on Lincoln's assassination, and I spelled that wrong.
I was not going to point that out. I was going to let that sit.
I probably didn't have my glasses on. April 22nd, Gary Sass will be here, and we'll be talking about Bold City Brewery and the Silent Movie Museum that's up in Jacksonville, and finding out more about the history of silent movies. Jacksonville is the first Hollywood, believe it or not.
Yeah, I knew that. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it is.
And
So
there
we're
was
going to
a lot
talk
of
about
silent
that.
films. They did a lot of filming here, out of the Jacksonville area, but they wanted certain backgrounds.
So we've got that. May 6th, Miss Gina will be on because that's World Belly Dance Day.
Awesome.
And July 8th, my son will join us for the birth of Superman. He is a huge Superman fanatic.
Awesome.
And Superman was created in 1939, I believe. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe that Superman is a international iconic figure and has controlled, that's not the right word, but has created a destiny for many people in the world.
So your son's the historian, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a challenge for him. I see you're going to be talking about Superman and Lincoln, and so I'd like you to do a little podcast on my favorite superhero,
Who's that?
Batman.
All right, Batman it will be.
Okay.
Also, Jim, now it finally came to me. Son, somebody gave me some information the other day, and I want you to look it up if you can. There was a Superman comic where Superman took on the KKK.
Huh?
And according to the person that gave me this information, it was part of the start of the downfall of the KKK.
Awesome.
So if that is indeed true, let's talk about it, because that's a very important thing to talk about. On that note, joke of the week. Let's reveal what Minnie Mayhem was trying to tell us.
All right.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. What is a pirate's favorite part of town? The answer is the harbor.
There'll be no Minnie Mayhem jokes at our sea shanty time on Saturday night. By the way, I did see that Mark Miller is watching us from Facebook. I saw that.
Yep.
He's watching us. And
somebody said I was there the year it was so cold.
yeah,
Miss Gina is also watching.
yes.
She's a
And she
Facebook.
was there that year it was cold, and that was about 13 or 14, I think.
Okay.
Let's see. Conjurer Cheap Tricks. There's a good one for you. Another magician. Thank you for watching. Zachary Harker. He's up in Michigan, by the way. My crew recently moved our event. Our crew recently moved our event a weekend early to not conflict with 2 other events. If you can do it,
I'm glad you had the option. Yes.
if you have the option, yes. I actually got blasted by a person in another state. That our event was the same weekend as theirs. Yep, I know what event that is, and they're wrong. You can't have control.
It's a big country,
It is a big country.
and we don't want to be a boring country.
No.
No.
Here's the other thing I tell people. I get involved in some of these events because this is what I do for a living, but I get to use charity also.
Sure.
I'm not going to have people that do not do this for a living dictate what I can and can't do. It's just not right.
Sure.
That's not me being big-headed. That is me just saying that you can't go and tell Walmart they can't do this and they can't do that because Walmart's a big business. I'm a business.
Yeah.
And I try to do everything within the business confines that include my crew and include the festivals that we do, because they are all about charity. And there are many other factors that are positive, even if events are so close together.
Sure.
Then the positive is far outweighs the negative. That's all I'm going to say at that point.
If you live anywhere that's as crowded as it around here, there's plenty of customers.
Yes, absolutely. So, how about our thank yous, Davey? This is getting that point of the dip show.
No, I did find some history about the Lions Club. Look.
What's that? Oh, did you do one? Good, do it.
No, I found out it's 106 years old.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's how long we've been.
1917.
Yeah, how about that?
That is pretty good. You know what? I had a question that I forgot. What's the membership? Is membership open to anybody, or?
Technically, yes. You must have a sponsor, like I would be your sponsor. Our meetings are not in secret. You can always visit. We have no secret handshakes, no secret passwords. Lions are in worldwide is about 1.5 million people. Locally, we have 1 Lions Club. Many cities like Jacksonville have 6 or 7. There's almost no place you could go in the United States and most of the world where there's not a Lions Club close to where you are. And but membership is it's a little application. We kind of make sure you're not a fugitive on the run kind of thing.
What about pirates?
Pirates we love.
Okay.
Pirates could bring some excitement. And so you get a sponsor. You can visit the big Lions Club, the International Families website, which is lionsclubs.org. Check on, be a member, learn more about. And then, again, if you're interested in this local area, you can certainly email me you can use my personal email, which is bigdom, BIGDOM 61 @hotmail.com. It only costs $10 a month, I think, to be a Lion.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not
It's
bad.
very reasonable, yeah. And you are then associated with the world's largest and most successful service organization.
Is there a certain amount of requirements that you have to do every year?
So our motto is we serve. So we do ask that we're not looking for social members. We're looking for people who want to participate.
Right.
We don't have any written requirements. We just ask whenever there's something going on that you do your best within your time and physical constraints, because as lions get older, obviously it changes we have lions that are pushing 90.
Wow.
When I joined the Lions Club in 1995, I was the youngest. I was the baby. And when I joined the club, and then for many years after, 3 of the original members who had chartered the club in 1947 were still in the club and had like 50 years worth of service.
Wow.
Saddle St. Lions Club is an interesting history because it was actually started in the 1920s. Less than 10 years after the whole organization was founded, the Great Depression came, so the club went kaput and then was rechartered and reopened in 1947. We just celebrated, in fact, would that be a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
Our 75th anniversary. We had a big shindig out at the Wild Golf Village in the Renaissance.
So Captain Smoo said that our difference is what complements our pirate community, and he's absolutely right.
Yes.
We can have more than one event on the same time frame, and if they're different, then it opens up the doors for many others. What did you just put up there, Davey? That was the local hero Stetson Kennedy was involved in the
I'm glad he
1946
brought that up.
radio show where Superman exposes the KKK. Well, I'm going to have to do some research on that because I find that to be interesting.
So Stetson Kennedy's widow lives not 10 minutes from here.
Oh, really?
Sandra Black. She also was the mayor of St. Augustine at one time,
Right.
or she ran for mayor. I'm not sure if she actually served as mayor. And she is a historian. You should have her and your son here at the same time. You would have a blast of a show.
Well, we're going to have to do that then. What is the main difference between the Lions Club and the Shriners?
They both do great work. The difference is the Shriners have more fun. Has a much more of a social component to it on top of the charitable work. The Lions is actually a civic organization. Typically, they meet less often. They choose to have 1, 2, 3 certain things during the year, raise money, give it away, and then go about their merry way. It is possible, and many people do, belong to, say, a Lions Club and an Elks or a Shriners because they have such lovely social components. If you're a social being. My father used to say, hey, I could go live on an island and be left alone, never see another human being. Most of us are not that way.
Most of us aren't.
Are social.
So between you and Jim, I'd like to make contact with these people on this Superman thing and see if we can't do something, get them to be a part of it here. I think my son would be excited for that too.
So when your son's looking into that and he goes looking at Stetson Kennedy, Stetson has he's passed now, but he has here in St. Johns County, he has a place called Beluthahatchee, I think it's pronounced. And it's deep in the woods and it's like a country, not really farmhouse, but a country home. And they have little events there where they celebrate his life. And he infiltrated he was like working for like the CIA and infiltrated the KKK and helped bring it down.
Wow.
And somehow he ended up in St. Augustine.
And somehow he got involved in the radio show too. Yeah. All that would be very interesting to find out even more, and would love to have that. And that's a July show, so we have plenty of time to work on that. And I think that would be a wonderful show.
Are you every Monday?
Every Monday night.
Every Monday
night at 8:00. So Davey, if I haven't missed anything, why don't you put the thank you video up?
Okay.
The Captain's Quarters podcast is indeed a ship sailing the seas of the world, always in search of history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a ship, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this ship afloat.
The cast and crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davy Longwood, Gunner Hellfire Henley, Cartographer Mandy Joe, the Powder Monkey, and Juan Cam.
Helping others gives a crew purpose. Our treasured charities that we support: Inc., investing in kids; the Humane Society of St. Johns County; Alia's Acres, a no-kill animal rescue zone; and the cadets of the St. Johns County Fire Department.
the 4 major charities that we support. But there's always room for more.
You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. A small monthly contribution as Powder Monkey or First Mate memberships. Or a single contribution. PayPal or Venmo. Go to YouTube. Hit the like and follow buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good, Davey. And there's our platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube every Monday night at 8 o'clock. But as soon as the show closes, it automatically downloads to Spotify, Instagram, Stitcher, iHeart, Castbox, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. We are getting ready to add maybe 1 or 2 other platforms there, but we'll see how it goes down the road. That's 8 at least, and that's a pretty good setup. We're in pretty good shape with that. Did Mandy make a numbers thing? Did she?
Yes, she did.
Even though she's at the Vegas Pirate Festival, she went ahead and did it for us.
Yes, she did. She got it to me in time.
I love her. Put it up there. Very good, Davey. Our numbers are looking strong. I'd like to see them get even stronger, but we'll see what happens. Jim says that Sandra would be a great guest, Stetson's widow. Not only a great guest, but she'd be an honored guest to be on the show. And I'm sure that would be a very fun show to do. As you see, we're at the 1 hour and 45-minute mark. We first started this show, we said we're only going to keep it at an hour. Well, that becomes virtually impossible when we have good subjects and good guests. So
you should have known that when you invited me.
Well, I know.
We have a saying in my club: don't give Dominic the microphone.
We've done the longest show we've done has been over a little over 2 hours. So you're short by it, but we still have a few minutes.
Didn't say that.
So I think that's about it, Davey.
Yep.
Let me give 2 things. Dom, you get the last word before I say goodbye to everybody. You get the last word and say something about the Lions or the festival or anything you want to say.
Well, we look forward to y'all coming out. Our hashtag is, hey, we're having fun now. And that's what we really want you to do, is come out and have some fun and enjoy the weekend and come sit over in Pirate Landing and give the Pirates their due. Is that
Their
right,
due,
Frank?
yeah.
Give the Pirates their due.
As always, before we conclude any show, when we have a guest, we always like to give them a gift. Just so happens that we have these little, you know what challenge coins are, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Ours are poker chips.
Oh.
Now this is the old logo. We're going to have the new ones put on the new ones, but the sign-off words are right there. You'll hear them in just a minute.
Okay.
But we give that out. It's a black chip, which in
Awesome.
Vegas is $100.
Oh.
But it's not worth $100.
Well,
It's just worth our gratitude.
my house, that's worth 10.
Yeah, very good.
10,000.
There you go. But
Thank
you
you.
can hang that up, put it with your others. I have a
I do have
whole
some others.
slew of. I'm trying to get a case or something to put all my challenge
This is
coins
really
on.
cool. I'll talk to you later about where you got this from.
Good. Yeah, it's really good. And the company that makes it is Florida
Florida.
and a veteran-owned company.
Awesome.
So that's why I like going to
I'll
them.
get that information.
I'll get that information to you. On that note, Davey, it's just me and you.
Yeah.
So next week we'll get Mandy to tell us all about her trip to Vegas. But for now, and we need to get together and talk about camera angles for next week's show, because we're going to do everything not here but over on the poker table.
Right.
So we need to play around with that. So I'm not sure, maybe on Sunday we could come up. You could come over and we'll work on that.
Okay.
On that note, our sign off. Take her away.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew. Always. We can't do it without you. We could, but it wouldn't be as much fun. And having everybody here to watch us and to participate and answer and ask questions makes it a fun podcast. I hope you had a good time tonight.
I did, very much so.
And be coming out and seeing us now, April 6th and 7th, Saturday and Sunday, the St. Augustine Seafood Company. We're having fun now.
We're having we're having fun now. Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, we're having fun.
Hey,
now.
we're having fun now.
We've had too much, whatever this is.
Yes, punch.
Punch.
On that note, we're shipping out.